What's up, family? It's Jay here, your accountability coach and ghetto psychologist, and it is my life's purpose to help Black people navigate this patriarchal system of white supremacy. Today, we're going to be discussing double standards. Okay, I'm not going to be on here that long for this one for real. I say that all the time, but this is going to be a short one, probably about 20 minutes. So, this is not a lot to talk about when it comes to double standards, but I said I wanted to talk about double standards because a lot of people have them. It's a problem, right? And I'm here to talk about the problems that we have as people to hold us accountable and to help us see the light, right? To stay in the light, Carolyn. So, double standards, there are so many double standards, right? There are personal double standards where there's people who do things to you that they don't want done to them. There are the double standards when it comes to gender. There's the double standards when it comes to race. There's the double standards even when it comes to classism, right? So I want to discuss the double standards when it comes to especially like relationships, right? When it comes to what men expect from women and what women expect from men or what people expect from their partners when they generally cannot provide themselves with these things. Like I have been going on record saying often that women should stop expecting men to provide a soft life for them if they can't expect that. I mean, if they can't provide it for themselves. And that goes into a double standard of, okay, you want a man to come into your life and alter your life in a way that you don't even know how to do. What is it that you can give him? How can you alter his life? And this is vice versa, men too. If you want women to come in and, because I see men do this a lot too, where they want women to come in and elevate their life and basically just take over the mommy role for a lot of you men who didn't know how to be a self-sufficient ass man. You want somebody to come and take over the mommy role for you, but what are you going to provide for that woman? Because hell, most of y'all don't want to do nothing but go 50-50, if that. That's not providing anything. That's not elevating her life. A motherfucker going 50-50 with you, yeah, you might save a couple more dollars, but it's not an elevation. Let's be clear. It's not. All right. So a lot of people will want things from you that they can't give themselves because that's the main reason that they want it because they can't give it to themselves. And this is in, like I said, a lot of facets of life in your relationships, in your friendships, in your family. People are going to expect from you what they can't provide. And I am one of those people that I believe that we should strive for self sufficiency, like tremendously, like throughout life. Of course, as a child, you can't be self sufficient. That's what you're being taught to be. But when you become a certain age, I don't even want to say an adult because the adult age is 18. I say in your 30s, especially, right? You should want to be so self sufficient that you don't expect from people what you cannot provide yourself. Okay. And this again, like I said, in every facet of life, you should be able to feel whole and feel, again, the word that I just said, self sufficient. Because when you are a self sufficient person, when you feel whole, you're not pouring from a cup, an empty cup. You're not pouring from a cup that's even half full, you're whole. So the goal is to overflow. But even when you whole, you still can pour some in somebody else's cup and replenish your own self. That's what self-sufficient is. So the deepest double standards and the worst double standards we have will be across genders or across sexes, right? There's an expectation from women and there's an expectation from men, and those things are often very different from each other. And what's different, and I'm sorry, and what's problematic about those differences is we're both human, right? Yes, there are biological differences between women and men. But there are not many differences. Percentage wise, if we were to quantify the differences between men and women, it would be a very small percent. If I was to put a man and a woman out in the wilderness, right, and they have no um outside influence, no influence from mankind at all. First of all, they wouldn't survive because you have to have human touch. But let's just entertain this theory. They would not be very different in mindset, because their natural mindset would be based upon survival. It would not be on socialization. It would not be on social standards. It would not be on rules, right? Because there would be no rules. The rules that they would have would be the rules that they set. And a lot of those rules will probably be rooted in the same thing, which is, like I said, survival. So this is, and the reason I'm using this for an example is because when you perform experiments to see the differences between things, right? You have to put them in the same environment under the same conditions. And we have to be able to understand that there is nurture versus nature when it comes to the differences between men and women. A lot of it is nurtured, a lot of it is socialized. It's not nature, it's not natural. Okay. So, that being said, the scientific or the practical part of it, let's talk about some of these double standards that men and women have. Women and men both have a way of having freedom in sexual expression. Like I said, but there are different ways, right? So for men, men can go and be promiscuous. Men have permission from the world to be promiscuous as long as it's with women. So again, women have permission to go be promiscuous, and actually, it's almost like glamorized for men to go and fuck a lot of women or have a lot of women at their disposal. It's glamorized. It makes him a man. That's what makes men manly in this patriarchal society. Women, on the other hand, we are meant to stay pure. I already had a little mini conversation about why we even associate sex to a lack of purity. I think that's fucking weird too, because just because somebody has sex does not mean they're impure. But anyway, there's an association to purity for women. So if women are promiscuous, socially, society will look at her as an outcast. She's not good enough. No man will want her. Not saying that that's true. I'm just saying these are the general rules of society, right? And however, on the flip side, with women, when women are sexually what's the word I'm looking for? Experimental with other women, right? With the same gender, it's not looked down upon as much as if it were a man. These are double standards. This means that, hey, women can go and experiment with each other, and the world won't really look at it that like it's that bad of a thing. Some people would, of course, but for the most part, people be like, oh, she just, she was having a little moment in college. She wanted to experiment. Big deal. A man does not have that freedom. He does not have that freedom to go and experiment with a homeboy in college without everybody just automatically assuming he is gay. So that women have a freedom to do that men do not have, right? And again, women, it's almost glamorized for them to do it. However, again, like I said earlier, men do have the freedom to be promiscuous. It's almost glamorized in men, so long as that promiscuity does not involve other men. That is a problem, right? It's a problem for both sides. It's a problem. It is such a problem because it is it causes sexual repression in humans in general because it's both sides, right? It's man and woman who has to deal with this. But the suppression often leads to negative inner feelings. Like if I am a woman and I want to be sexually expressive and I want to be a little promiscuous just to see what I like. You know what I'm saying? If as long as I'm safe, as long as I'm not doing it in a way to escape, what is wrong with the behavior in a woman? What's the difference? What you gonna say biologically? Well, only because a woman, she's the one who carries the baby. She's the hole, or she's the keyhole, and all this other little bullshit y'all used to make up. I'm telling y'all scientifically, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. It is still the same effect, male or female, if somebody is promiscuous mentally. I want y'all to understand that. And the only thing that will make it different, again, would be the socialization part. How we are socialized to see women who are promiscuous, or vice versa. So, that being said, when we have to deal with the double standards with the men too, right? The suppression with men is what leads to down low men. It leads to men who can't live out in the open. They're still in the closet. You know, they can't be who they are. Even if it was a one-time thing and he decided he don't want to deal with men in a sexual way again, why is it that a woman can openly share that experience and nobody thinks much of it, but a man cannot? So he has to suppress himself. He does not have the freedom. He doesn't feel like there's a safe space for him to express that part of his sexuality. And if he does like both, the way y'all treat bisexual people in general, but bisexual men especially, it's almost as if the world really believes that bisexual men don't exist. They write them off in every community, especially in the even the LGBTQ community writes off bisexual men because y'all feel like they have to choose. There's no way that a man can just be straight and gay at the same time because that's what bisexuality is. No way they can be both. You like more one more than the other. I know you do, and you need to just pick one and stick to it. That is what y'all. That's how y'all treat bisexual people, especially bisexual men. Now, just a sidebar: when women are bisexual, men are willing to accept bisexual women. It's the gay women that are not willing to accept bisexual women most of the time. Y'all think that women who have sex with men are disgusting. It's again, that is a double standard. That's a problem, right? That the community has with bisexual people. And then you do have some gay people who go directly to the bisexual or the straight oriented people to try to turn them out because they think that I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know. I guess y'all want some kind of internal brownie points for doing that shit. I don't know. But that's a whole nother conversation. It really is a whole nother topic. But there are people who do that. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to the double standards of how we treat people in the community, the bisexual people in the community, men get it the worst. Black men especially get it the worst. There's almost like I said, uh, a lack of belief that bisexual men really exist. And if you are bisexual, you're lying. You really like one more than the other, and you should pick. That's the mindset of the world. And again, that double standard is a problem. Okay. Then there's other double standards amongst genders, like that women feel like they can put their hands on men and men can't. I've never believed that. Never, not even at a young age. Because first of all, the people who taught me how to fight were men in my family. Now they ain't never like really just clock me, but they used to rough me up. They taught me how to be tough. They taught me how to fight. They taught me not to be no punk bitch, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I never thought in my life that I could be big and bold and bad as a woman and hit a man and he not hit me back. And I never thought that, and I never thought it right for women to think that way. If you gonna hit a man, be prepared for what might come after that. Now, however, a man don't need to hit me at all if I'm not hitting him. I don't give a fuck if I called you a bitch, a pussy, your mama's a slut. You put your hands on me, bitch, in this war. Because you don't need to hit me first off some punk ass words. You don't be pussy, right? So I don't know. That was a quick little sidebar. But no, so that double standard is an issue because there are a lot of statistics that say that when it comes to domestic violence, women are the initiators a lot of the time, but men are the ones who are often going to jail for it. Which is why I think a lot of things have changed in the last few years. Where if there is a domestic violence call, to a lot of time both parties are going to jail now, but there was a time where it was always the man going to jail because it was just the woman's word against his, and you really had no way of knowing who started what. But if the woman looks more beat up than the man, then of course automatically he's going to jail. So don't put your hands on men if you are a woman, and if you do that, just be prepared to fight and be prepared for a tough fight. Okay, because it's not fun to fight in general, But the damn show ain't fun to be a woman fighting a man. I'm telling you, that shit is tiring and it's very traumatizing. Okay. Um, what other double standards was I talking about? Oh, classism, right? Or we'll even just even outside of classism, we can talk about racism, right? And the appropriation double standards and how, oh shit, my camera just really played me. And how a lot of non-black people can take black culture or elements of black culture and do them or apply them or show them, and it is more welcomed. That's a very harsh double standard that black people have to deal with and have been having to deal with forever, where everything has been taken from us, even down to our characteristics, our personality traits. You outsiders take our shit and it becomes popular in your own community or whatever, but it's deemed ghetto or trashy when it's in our community. Hip hop, um breakdancing, beatboxing, braids, afros, long nails, jewelry, you name it. Black people made it popular. Well, black people made it, right? We made it. I guess I can say for popular, but for lack of, because I want to say that black people really just made it, and the other people just came and took it and made it popular. Because it was us, it was popping already, but they had to go and take it and put it into their own, apply it to their own culture, and that made it more popular outside of the black community. So with these things in mind, right, and of course there's a lot more double standards than what I just said. But with these things in mind, you have to understand how hypocritical some of these things are, how they don't work logically. Double standards lack logic. You cannot tell me as a man you can do something and I cannot. If it does not involve you standing up peeing, which is biological, or me having a baby, pushing, being pregnant, because you can't do that, right? There's only a few things. That's why I said the differences. There's only a few things a man can do that a woman can't do, and vice versa. So with that being said, honestly, it's a lot more that women can do, even socially, if we include all that, that men can't, and that's why a lot of times they get mad because men don't have the freedom. Here go another double standard: the freedom of even just emotional expression. They don't have that freedom. Little boys are taught at an early age, no, you don't cry. Crying is for girls. So damn, here comes the jealousy that a lot of men already have. I'm gonna tell you why a lot of men, you think men, some of y'all, we've been saying this for some years that some men are come off as like they're jealous of women because they are. They are jealous of the of femininity. A lot of men are threatened by it. They're enamored by it, but also threatened by it because it's something that they can't have, right? And the only way they can have it is through women or femme type people. So men are jealous of femme types. They're jealous of feminine beings because the world tells them they can't tap into that energy or they would be deemed as less than a man. It's the stringency, the social rules, right? The societal expectations that lead to men feeling jealous and mean or mad towards women because they cannot express themselves in the ways that the world allows women to do so. I can go and hug my best friend and give her a kiss on the cheek. Nobody's gonna think we gay. Not even a little bit. Unless I just say that this is my partner. Nobody's gonna think much of it. Soon as you see a man kiss another man on the cheek, it makes you uncomfortable. Especially in the black community. It's like, oh, them niggas gay. You can't even be a son kissing your own father or vice versa and be, nah, that's gay. I ain't doing it. I ain't kissing my daddy. That's your dad. Nigga, you was in his nutsack. What do you mean? You know? So it's like men get upset because they can't really do that. And there's consciously they don't want to, right? Consciously, but subconsciously they know that they need it. They know that that will make them feel better if they could just a little bit by a little bit express their feminine side a little bit more in the world. They would feel a lot better because they're suppressing. And anytime you suppress something, it wants to break out. It becomes desperate to be a certain type of way. So they fight that side of themselves. And this is why double standards are bad. Because it leads, like I said, to suppression. And with women, with our inability to express ourselves sexually, this is why we are always under attack sexually, right? This is why so many of y'all don't even know how to enjoy sex with people that you consensually have sex with because you are suppressing. Because people taught you that women should not enjoy sex. It is for men to enjoy. Men are to only enjoy sex. And if you enjoy sex, you are a slut. And sluts are not good, right? This is the mindset that we have been taught. This is the social conditioning. So you have women who are suppressing their sexuality also. But a lot of y'all really just want to nut and y'all don't even know. Y'all can't even nut because of all of the suppression. Can't even orgasm. Most women, well, they say on record, most women have not had an orgasm. I don't have that problem. I hate it for y'all. There's been so many women that I even talked to and know who said they never even nutted, but y'all are pushing out babies. You didn't even have an orgasm. At the very least, you didn't even come. And you got to go through all that pain. What made it worth it? You know what I'm saying? Besides, of course, that beautiful child that you got, but still, I'm talking about in the midst of making it. At least make it worth the pain, the act. I don't know, but double standards are not good. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I don't believe in double standards, and there now I do believe in my relationship that there will be roles, but those roles won't be solely based on gender. They will be based on how we complement each other, right? However, if you guys believe in gender roles in your own relationship, who am I to talk about that? Just my thing is, if you have a double standard that applies to your own life, don't blanket it onto everybody else. Don't believe that everybody else should live the same way or think the same way you do when it comes to those double standards. I don't have any double standards at all. I'm not upset if women decide they want a stay at home dad to marry to a stay at home dad. I don't think anything is wrong with that as long as y'all have a plan that works out for y'all, as long as he is not feeling emasculated, as long as she is not feeling like the man. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to resolve those own inner feelings based off societal expectations. See, because in my relationship, whatever works, it works. I've dated men who I thought would have been the stay at home dad, but they again don't have the inner work of being okay with being that type of man, because if the world tells that man that he's not a man, even if it's not me, he might feel like less of a man because the world makes him feel like that. And they might not even be saying it to his face. It's just the world has this painted picture of what men or masculinity should be and look like. And when anything goes against that, right? Double standard. When anything goes against that, are you really a man? We emasculate our men, especially in the black community, very easily. Very easily. The manhood in the black community is hanging on by a thread, and it's because of these double standards. So get rid of them. Stop. And I'm gonna keep telling y'all all the time. Stop giving a fuck about what society tells you should be, how you should look, how you should live. You set your own standards. The only being that you should be trying to impress outside of yourself is God. Nobody else. Nobody else matters. Literally, nobody else matters, right? Not in the grand scheme of things. So, on this note, whatever double standards you have, if you believe that women should be pure and men can go out here and be sluts, have at it. You're the one who is going to continue to create this suppressive world that we live in where everybody has these certain expectations of other humans and it's unfair, right? And I don't believe that men should be impure. If you're gonna have a thought, a moral compass, it should not change based on gender or race or class or anything. It should be the same for everybody. I believe everybody should be reserved in their sexuality. Now, and this is coming from me, who was not always reserved in my sexuality. I had to learn that that's the way that I feel like I should be, right? But even with me saying should, you can still live however you want to, as long as it makes you happy. I don't let me impede on that. But I believe, right? So it's been amazing talking about this today. I felt like I'm glad this is very short and to the point, sweet. I think that you guys are able to see the mirror the what's the word I'm looking for? See the ways in which everything mirrors each other. It's all connected. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm stimming every time you see me mess with my hair. I can't help it. Make sure y'all check out my website, like, subscribe, drop a comment if you would like. And thanks for watching this far. I love you. Bye bye.